Hello listener, welcome to Kraus Audiobooks. Today I will be doing a reading of William Carlos Williams. I will be doing a number of poems that are featured in the Norton Anthology of Modern and Contemporary Poetry, Volume 1, Modern Poetry, 3rd edition. First, The Young Housewife. At 10 a.m., the young housewife moves about in negligee behind the wooden walls of her husband's house. I pass solitary in my car. Then again she comes to the curb to call the iceman, fishman, and stands shy, uncorseted, tucking in stray ends of hair, and I compare her to a fallen leaf. The noiseless wheels of my car rush with a crackling sound over dried leaves as I bow and pass smiling. The second poem I will read is Tract. I will teach you, my townspeople, how to perform a funeral, for you have it over a troupe of artists. Unless one should scour the world, you have the ground sense necessary. See, the hearse leads. I begin with a design for a hearse. For Christ's sake, not black, nor white either, and not polished. Let it be weathered like a farm wagon, with gilt wheels. This could be applied fresh at small expense, or no wheels at all. A rough dray to drag over the ground. Knock the glass out. My God, glass, my townspeople, for what purpose? Is it for the dead to look out, or for us to see how well he is housed, or to see the flowers, or the lack of them, or what? To keep the rain and snow from him? He will have a heavier rain soon, pebbles and dirt and what not. Let there be no glass, and no upholstery, phew, and no little brass rollers and small easy wheels on the bottom. My townspeople, what are you thinking of? A rough, plain hearse, then, with gilt wheels and no top at all. On this the coffin lies by its own weight. No wreaths, please, especially no hot-house flowers. Some common memento is better, something he prized and is known by. His old clothes, a few books perhaps, God knows what. You realize how we are about these things, my townspeople. Something will be found, anything, even flowers if he had come to that. So much for the hearse. For heaven's sake, though, see to the driver. Take off the silk hat. In fact, that's no place at all for him, up there, unceremoniously, dragging our friend out to his own dignity. Bring him down. Bring him down. Low and inconspicuous, I'd not have him ride on the wagon at all. Damn him, the undertaker's understrapper. Let him hold the reins and walk at the side, and inconspicuously, too. Then briefly, as to yourselves, walk behind as they do in France, 7th class, or, if you ride, he'll take curtains. Go with some show of inconvenience, sit openly to the weather as to grieve. Or do you think you can shut grief in? What, from us? We who have perhaps nothing to lose? Share with us, it will be money in your pockets. Go now. I think you are ready. The third poem I will read is Danse Russe. If I, when my wife is sleeping, and the baby and Kathleen are sleeping, and the sun is a flame-white disk in silken mists, above shining trees, if I, in my north room, dance naked, grotesquely, before my mirror, waving my shirt round my head, and singing softly to myself, I am lonely, I am lonely, I was born to be lonely, I am best so. If I admire my arms, my face, my shoulders, flanks, buttocks, against the yellow-drawn shades, who shall say I am not the happy genius of my household? The fourth poem I will read, Sympathetic Portrait of a Child. The murderer's little daughter, who is barely 10 years old, jerks her shoulders right and left so as to catch a glimpse of me without turning round. Her skinny little arms wrap themselves this way then that, reversely about her body. Nervously, she crushes her straw hat about her eyes and tilts her head to deepen the shadow, smiling excitedly. As best as she can, she hides herself in the full sunlight, her cordy legs writhing beneath the little flowered dress that leaves them bare from mid-thigh to ankle. Why has she chosen me for the knife that darts along her smile? The fifth poem I will read is Portrait of a Lady. Your thighs are apple trees whose blossoms touch the sky. Which sky? The sky where Watteau hung a lady's slipper? Your knees are a southern breeze, or a gust of snow. Ugh! What sort of man was Fragonard? As if that answered anything. Ah, yes, below the knees, since the tune drops that way, it is one of those white summer days, the tall grass of your ankles flickers upon the shore. Which shore? The sand clings to my lips. Which shore? Ugh! Petals, maybe. How should I know? Which shore? Which shore? I said petals from an apple tree. The sixth poem I will read is Queen Anne's Lace. Her body is not so white as anemone petals, nor so smooth, nor so remote a thing. It is a field of the wild carrot taking the field by force. The grass does not raise above it. Here is no question of whiteness, white as can be, with a purple mole at the center of each flower. Each flower is a hand's span of her whiteness. Wherever his hand has lain, there is a tiny purple blemish. Each part is a blossom under his touch, to which the fibers of her being stem one by one, each to its end, until the whole field is a white desire, empty, a single stem, a cluster, flower by flower, a pious wish to whiteness gone over, or nothing. The next poem I will read is The Widow's Lament in Springtime. Sorrow is my own yard, where the new grass flames as it has flamed often before, but not with the cold flower that closes round me this year. 35 years I lived with my husband. The plum tree is white today, with masses of flowers. Masses of flowers load the cherry branches and color some bushes yellow and some red, but the grief in my heart is stronger than they, for though they were my joy formerly, today I notice them and turn away, forgetting. Today my son told me that in the meadows at the edge of the heavy woods, in the distance, he saw trees of white flowers. I feel that I would like to go there and fall into those flowers and sink into the marsh near them. Next poem is The Great Figure. Among the rain and lights I saw the figure 5 in gold on a red fire truck, moving with weight and urgency, tense, unheeded to gong clangs, siren howls, and wheels rumbling through the dark city. The next poem I will read is Spring and All. By the road to the contagious hospital, under the surge of the blue, mottled clouds driven from the northeast, a cold wind. Beyond, the waste of broad, muddy fields, brown with dried weeds, standing and fallen. Patches of standing water, the scattering of tall trees. All along the road, the reddish-purplish, forked, upstanding, twiggy stuff of bushes and small trees with dead, brown leaves under them, leafless vines. Lifeless in appearance, sluggish, dazed spring approaches. They enter the new world naked, cold, uncertain of all, save that they enter. All about them, the cold, familiar wind. Now the grass, tomorrow the stiff curl of wild carrot leaf. One by one objects are defined. It quickens, clarity, outline of leaf. But now the stark dignity of entrance. Still, the profound change has come upon them. Rooted, they grip down and begin to awaken. The next poem I will read is The Farmer. The farmer, in deep thought, is pacing through the rain among his blank fields, with pockets, hands in pockets. In his head, the harvest already planted. A cold wind ruffles the water among the browned weeds. On all sides the world rolls coldly away, black orchards, darkened by the March clouds, leaving room for thought. Down past the brushwood, bristling by, the rain-sluiced wagon road, looms the artist figure of the farmer, composing antagonist. The next poem I will read is To Elsie. The pure products of America go crazy, mountain folk from Kentucky, or the ribbed north end of Jersey, with its isolate lakes and valleys, its deaf mutes, thieves, old names, and promiscuity between devil-may-care men who have taken to railroading out of sheer lust of adventure, and young slatterns, bathed in filth from Monday to Saturday, to be tricked out that night with gauds from imaginations which have no peasant traditions to give them character, but flutter and flaunt, sheer rags, succumbing without emotion, save numbed terror. Under some hedge of choked cherry or viburnum, which they cannot express, unless it be that marriage perhaps, with a dash of Indian blood, will throw up a girl so desolate, so hemmed round with disease or murder, that she'll be rescued by an agent, reared by the state, and sent out at 15 to work in some hard-pressed house in the suburbs, some doctor's family, some Elsie, voluptuous water, expressing with broken brain the truth about us, her great ungainly hips and flopping breasts, addressed to cheap jewelry and rich young men with fine eyes, as if the earth under our feet were an excrement of some sky, and we degraded prisoners, destined to hunger until we eat filth, while the imagination strange after deer, going by fields of goldenrod in the stifling heat of September, somehow it seems to destroy us. It is only in isolate flecks that something is given off, no one to witness and adjust, no one to drive the car. The next poem I will read is The Red Wheelbarrow. So much depends upon a red wheelbarrow, glazed with rainwater beside the white chickens. The next poem I will read is This Is Just to Say. I have eaten the plums that were in the icebox, and which you were probably saving for breakfast. Forgive me, they were delicious, so sweet and so cold. The next poem I will read is Death. He's dead. The dog won't have to sleep on his potatoes anymore to keep them from freezing. He's dead, the old bastard. He's a bastard because there's nothing legitimate in him anymore. He's dead. He's sick dead. He's a godforsaken curio without any breath in it. He's nothing at all. He's dead. Shrunken up to skin, put his head on one chair and his feet on another, and he'll lie there like an acrobat. Love's beaten. He beat it. That's why he's insufferable, because he's here needing a shave and making love an inside howl of anguish and defeat. He's come out of the man, and he's let the man go, the liar. Dead. His eyes rolled up out of the light, a mockery, which love cannot touch. Just bury it and hide its face for shame. The next poem I will read is Flowers by the Sea. When over the flowery, sharp pasture's edge, unseen, The salt ocean lifts its form, chicory and daisies, tide released, seem hardly flowers alone, but color and the movement, or the shape, perhaps, of restlessness, whereas the sea is circled and sways peacefully upon its plant-like stem. The next poem I will read is The Botticellian Trees. The alphabet of the trees is fading in the song of the leaves, the crossing bars of the thin letters that spelled winter and the cold have been illumined with pointed green by the rain and sun. The strict, simple principles of straight branches are being modified by pinched-out ifs of color, devout conditions, and smiles of love, until the script sentences move as a woman's limbs under cloth, and praise from secrecy, quick with desire, love's ascendancy in summer. In summer the song sings itself above the muffled words. The next poem I will read is The Yachts. The yachts contend in a sea which the land partly encloses, shielding them from the too heavy blows of an ungoverned ocean which, when it chooses, tortures the biggest hulls the best man knows to pit against its beatings, and sinks them pitilessly, moth-like in mists, scintillant in the minute, brilliance of cloudless days, with broad bellying sails, they glide to the wind, tossing green water from their sharp prows, while over them the crew crawls, ant-like, solicitously, grooming them, releasing, making fast as they turn, lean far over, and having caught the wind again, side by side, head for the mark. In a well-guarded arena of open water, surrounded by lesser and greater craft, which, sycophant, lumbering, and flittering follow them, they appear youthful, rare as the light of a happy eye, live with the grace of all that in the mind is fleckless, free, and naturally to be desired. Now the sea which holds them is moody, lapping their glossy sides, as if feeling for some slightest flaw, but fails completely. Today, no race. Then the wind comes again. The yachts move, jockeying for a start. The signal is set, and they are off. Now the waves strike at them, but they are too well made. They slip through, though they take in canvas. Arms with hands grasping seek to clutch at the prows. Bodies thrown recklessly in the way are cut aside. It is a sea of faces about them in agony, in despair, until the horror of the race dawns, staggering the mind. The whole sea become an entanglement of watery bodies, lost to the world, bearing what they cannot hold, broken, beaten, desolate, reaching from the dead to be taken up, they cry out, failing, failing, their cries rising in waves, still as the skillful yachts pass over. The next poem I will read is The Last Words of My English Grandmother. There were some dirty plates and a glass of milk beside her on a small table near the rank, disheveled bed. Wrinkled and nearly blind, she lay and snored, rousing with anger in her tones to cry for food. "Gimme something to eat! They're starving me! I'm all right! I won't go to the hospital! No, no, no! Give me something to eat!" "Let me take you to the hospital," I said, "and after you are well, you can do as you please." She smiled. "Yes, you do what you please first, then I can do what I please." "Oh! Oh! Oh!" she cried, as the ambulance men lifted her to the stretcher. "Is this what you call making me comfortable?" By now her mind was clear. "Oh, you think you're smart, you young people," she said, "but I'll tell you, you don't know anything." Then we started on the way. We passed a long row of elms. She looked at them a while out of the ambulance window and said, "What are all those fuzzy-looking things out there? Trees? Well, I'm tired of them," and rolled her head away. The next poem is The Dance. In Bruegels' great picture, The Kermis, the dancers go round, they go round and around, the squeal and the blare and the tweedle of bagpipes, a bugle and fiddles tipping their bellies, round as the thick-sided glasses whose wash they impound. Their hips and their bellies off balance to turn them, kicking and rolling about the fair grounds, swinging their butts. Those shanks must be sound to bear up under such rollicking measures, prance as they dance in Bruegels' great picture, The Kermis. The next poem I will read is Burning the Christmas Greens. Their time past, pulled down, cracked, and flung to the fire, go up in a roar, all recognition lost, burnt clean, clean in the flame, the green dispersed, a living red, flame red, red as blood wakes on the ash, and ebbs to a steady burning, the rekindled bed become a flame, a landscape of flame. At the winter's midnight we went to the trees, the coarse holly, the balsam, and the hemlock for their green. At the thick of the dark, the moment of the cold's deepest plunge, we brought branches cut from the green trees to fill our need, and over doorways about paper Christmas bells covered with tinfoil and fastened by red ribbons. We stuck the green prongs in the windows, hung woven reeds, and above pictures, the living green. On the mantel we built a green forest, and among those hemlock sprays put a herd of small white deer, as if they were walking there. All this, and it seemed gentle and good to us. Their time passed, relief, the room bare. We stuffed the dead grate with them upon the half-burnt-out logs, smoldering opening red and closing under them, and we stood there looking down. Green is a solace, a promise of peace, a fort against the cold, though we did not say so, a challenge above the snow's hard shell. Green, we might have said, that where small birds hide and dodge and lift their plaintive rallying cries, blocks for them, and knocks down the unseeing bullets of the storm. Green spruce boughs pulled down by a weight of snow, transformed. Violence leaped and appeared, recreant, roared to life, as the flame rose through and our eyes recoiled from it, in the jagged flames green, to red, instant and alive. Green, those sure abutments, gone, lost to mind. And quick in the contracting tunnel of the grate appeared a world, black mountains, black and red, as yet uncolored, and ash white. An infant landscape of shimmering ash and flame, and we, in that instant, lost. Breathless to be witnesses, as if we stood ourselves refreshed among the shining fauna of that fire. The next poem is from PATERSON, from the Preface. Quote, "Rigor of beauty is the quest, but how will you find beauty when it is locked in the mind past all remonstrance?" The poem. To make a start out of particulars and make them general, rolling up the sum by defective means, sniffing the trees, just another dog among a lot of dogs. What else is there? And to do, the rest have run out, after the rabbits. Only the lame stands on 3 legs, scratch front and back, deceive and eat, dig a musty bone. For the beginning is assuredly the end, since we know nothing, pure and simple, beyond our own complexities. Yet there is no return. Rolling up out of chaos, a 9 months' wonder, the city, the man, in identity, it can't be otherwise, in interpenetration, both ways, rolling up, obverse, reverse, the drunk, the sober, the illustrious, the gross, one. In ignorance a certain knowledge, and knowledge undispersed, its own doing. The multiple seed, packed tight with detail, soured, is lost in the flux, and the mind, distracted, floats off in the same scum. Rolling up heavy with numbers, it is the ignorant sun rising in the slot of hollow suns risen, so that never in this world will a man live well in his body, save dying, and not know himself dying. Yet that is the design. Renews himself thereby, in addition and subtraction, walking up and down. And the craft, subverted by thought, rolling up, let him beware lest he turn to no more than the writing of stale poems. Minds, like beds, always made up, more stony than ashore, unwilling or unable. Rolling in, top up, under, thrust and recoil, a great clatter, lifted as air, boated, multicolored, a wash of seas, from mathematics to particulars, divided as the dew, floating mists, to be rained down and regathered into a river that flows and encircles, shells and animalcules, generally, and so to man, to PATERSON. The next poem I will read will be The Ivy Crown. The whole process is a lie, unless, crowned by excess, it break forcefully, one way or another, from its confinement, or find a deeper well. Antony and Cleopatra were right. They have shown the way. I love you, or I do not live at all. Daffodil time is past. This is summer, summer, the heart says, and not even the full of it. No doubts are permitted, though they will come, and may, before our time, overwhelm us. We are only mortal, but being mortal can defy our fate. We may, by an outside chance, even win. We do not look to see jonquils and violets come again, but there are, still, the roses. Romance has no part in it. The business of love is cruelty which, by our wills, we transform to live together. It has its seasons, for and against, whatever the heart fumbles in the dark to assert toward the end of May. Just as the nature of briars is to tear flesh, I have proceeded through them. Keep the briars out, they say. You cannot live and keep free of briars. Children pick flowers. Let them. Though having them in hand, they have no further use for them. But leave them crumpled at the curb's edge. At our age, the imagination across the sorry facts lifts us to make roses stand before thorns. Sure, love is cruel and selfish and totally obtuse. At least, blinded by the light, young love is. But we are older, I to love and you to be loved. We have, no matter how, by our wills survived, to keep the jeweled prize always at our fingertips. We will it so, and so it is, past all accident. The next poem is from Pictures from Bruegel. This one is Landscape with the Fall of Icarus. According to Bruegel, when Icarus fell, it was spring. A farmer was plowing his field. The whole pageantry of the year was awake, tingling near the edge of the sea, concerned with itself, sweating in the sun that melted the wings' the wings' wax. Unsignificantly, off the coast there was a splash quite unnoticed. This was Icarus drowning. The next poem is also from Pictures from Bruegel. This one is Haymaking. The living quality of the man's mind stands out, and its covert assertions for art, painting that the Renaissance tried to absorb, but it remained a wheat field over which the wind played. Men with scythes tumbling the wheat in rows, the gleaners already busy, it was his own. Magpies, the patient horses, no one could take that from him. And that is the last poem that I will be reading from William Carlos Williams. I hope you enjoyed today's reading, and I invite you to come back to my channel and check out any other readings that I may do. If you have any recommendations, please leave them in the comments below, and I would be more than happy to oblige. As always, also feel free to subscribe and leave a comment. Thank you very much, and have a great night.